So what's up, guys? Now I know these movies have already been seen. They've been out for a week and they're at the top of the box office. And I know I'm a little late on these movie reviews for this one because I've just been so busy with my short film, but I'm not making excuses for that. So I'm going to review these right now. So the very first film I'm going to talk about is Man of Steel. Man of Steel essentially is another Origins Superman movie written by Christopher Nolan and David Goyer. David Goyer is known for actually penning the stories for all of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. So they've worked with each other in the past. So Christopher Nolan is actually producing this one, and he handpicked Zack Snyder to direct this one. Now, Zack Snyder has directed 300, Watchmen, Sucker Punch, and Dawn of the Dead. So he kind of knows what he's doing with some comic book mythology. So what Man of Steel is another origin story to reboot another franchise for Superman. I will say that the acting is really good in this film. You have Diane Lane, Kevin Costner, Russell Crowe, Amy Adams, Henry Cavill, and I believe his name is Michael Shannon as General Zod. I'll give Zack Snyder credit. The casting on this was perfect. He couldn't have picked a better Superman because one, he kind of looks the part of Superman, and two, he's not extremely nerdy how Christopher Reeves was, and not as boring as Brandon Routh was in Superman Returns. The production design in this film was just amazing. The set design that they created for the world of Smallville and Metropolis just looked awesome. The introduction of Krypton, basically looking like a mixture of Avatar and like Star Wars lore. So it just looked pretty amazing. The editing and writing for this film was pretty decent. The writing, it's an origin story, so you have to tell a lot of backstory, but it still kind of pushed the story along, and it gave Superman almost a sense of purpose for his powers to actually accept them, and the editing went along with it, pushing the film across, and kind of it had its moments where it slowed down, but it still is a watchable movie. However, the visual effects in this film are way too much. It is very visual effects heavy driven. Obviously it's a comic book movie, so it's gonna happen, but it got to the point where towards the end of the film, Metropolis is basically destroyed and Superman and Zod are still left standing. It's one of those things where you as an audience member will probably feel beaten to shit. They just pound and pound and pound with all these visual effects to a point where you exhaust your audience and they have nothing to go. And to be honest, if you guys, I'm pretty sure you have seen this, but spoiler at the end, Superman kills Zod. It's so flat. Overall, it's still a pretty good movie. I did not see it in IMAX 3D because it wasn't shot in any of those formats, so I saw it in the regular 2D, which was fine. I give this film a 4 out of 5. It's still pretty good, but not as blow me away amazing like The Avengers. It's still a movie to go see. It makes up for the last 3 Superman movies that have come out. I say it ranks higher probably than Superman 2. Superman 1 is just as good, but it brings back the old glory that Superman as the character once had. So it's pretty good, and it kind of almost humanizes Superman the way Nolan humanized Batman. Of course, the second movie I saw is This Is the End, which is Seth Rogen's directorial debut. Now, essentially this movie is basically Seth Rogen and his friends survive the end of the world at James Franco's house. This is actually based on a short film created by Seth Rogen and his friend Jay Baruchel. There's not really much to say about this film because it's essentially all these guys playing themselves or extensions of themselves. You have a whole slew of celebrities in there. You had Seth Rogen, James Franco, Danny McBride, Jonah Hill, Jay Baruchel, Craig Robinson, Emma Watson, Michael Cera, Kevin Hart, Aziz Ansari, and many, many more. I'm not going to name because it's just too long of a list, and they're all cameos. It is a fun, dark comedy, but there did have its moments where it just completely slowed down the editing and writing kind of went down with it, but there's spots where it picks back up because of the jokes that they had in there. The co-directing by Seth Rogen and Evan Greenberg was actually not bad. Essentially just giving all the actors some sort of direction, telling them, okay, maybe you should say this, and then just roll on it, so that you can have that advantage doing a comedy like that. Production design wasn't really much. It essentially is just barricading yourself in a house, and the set design wasn't that big. It's just a fake interpretation of a famous person's $1 million mansion, which was kind of funny. I went into this film expecting a lot more, especially when people just raved about how funny it is, and it did have its moments, but it kind of went away from me. So I'm gonna give this film a 3.5 out of 5. It's funny, it's still worth seeing, but to me it wasn't that funny, and it lost its touch somewhere in the middle, but it picks itself back up towards the end, and it's just one of those comedies where it's actually worth seeing, probably more so than Hangover Part 3. So let me know in the comments below if you saw both these movies like I did. I know I'm a little late on this, and I actually saw another movie while shooting this one, and it's Bling Ring, which I will put an annotation somewhere here so you can see that one too. Now, I haven't seen World War Z yet. I still haven't seen Monsters University or The Internship yet. So I still have quite a bit of movies to go to, but gotta get back to work on the short film. So that is it. I will see you guys next time with another movie review. Good night.